G'day, beautiful bastards. Welcome to my channel. Today we've got a Division 2 beginner's guide. Now, this might be called a beginner's guide, but there are things that perhaps, people that are a fair way into the game, or even maybe the more further along players or above average players might get something out of. So everyone might get something out of this, but definitely beginners are going to get a lot out of it. So this is probably a little bit late. I haven't made any videos on my channel in quite some time. I'm probably going to do quite a few Division 2 videos. So if you enjoy this one, keep that in mind. Consider subscribing for some more videos. Once again, it's a little bit late. I've just been thoroughly enjoying this game, and I have figured out some stuff that is quite useful. Some other things that I've learnt from other people. So we're going to go over perks that you should prioritize, skills that you should consider taking, a slight talk on weapons, and some stuff that you can do with your options menu to make life a little bit easier. So starting off with the skills, so we have the most important one is the chem launcher. This is the reinforcer chem launcher. Now you can see on the left hand side you can actually shoot it off, but you can just quick deploy this by just tapping the button that you have it bound to, and it will just pop on the floor below you like a health, a med kit from health kit, med kit, whatever they were called, from Division 1. Pretty good heal. They're on very low cooldown of 20 seconds. You get 3 per, and they have low cooldown. They stack as well, so if you're very low and you don't have time to wait for a whole heal to finish and then another whole heal to finish to get your health bar up, you can actually just stack 2 or 3 on top and the heal will be multiplied. All 3 of them will work independently. So that's a very, very good skill. Now, apart from other things, if you want something that deals damage, because, we all want some skills that actually go ahead and do some work, the assault turret is very good when it doesn't bug out. Now, I haven't used it in a little bit, so I'm not sure if it is still bugging out. I have heard reports and some friends saying that it is still buggy, a little bit buggy. So the assault turret does work. The defender drone I know to be quite decent in helping you mitigate some damage. The shields are quite fun, and obviously Seeker Mines do a bit of work, but for the solo players, even in a group, this is great. But for the solo players, the Reviver Hive is almost a must-have, especially if you're soloing a harder activity. I take this and the Chem Launcher with me into solo challenging missions and bounties. And what it does is you can throw it out, and it'll have an area of effect on the ground, which you can see on the left-hand side there. It'll revive anyone that's within it. But when you are solo and you get downed, instead of just instantly dying in a mission because you're solo, you'll actually drop to your knees and this will fall to the floor and revive you. Just keep in mind that when you do get revived, you are immune to damage for a few seconds or until you move. So the moment that you get revived, just hold right on the D-pad or whatever your armor kits are. Hold that down, get your armor to full before you move, because you don't want to jump up with just 25% armor, because this only gives you 25% armor when you're revived. So you don't want to jump up and get instantly down again. So pop that armor kit before you go. So that's it for skills. As I said, Chem Launcher and Hive, Reviver Hive will do you very well. But if you want to get rid of, if you're in lower tier activities, you're not worried about dying, maybe take a turret. The turret does quite good work. The drones are fun. The shield is fun. So that is your skills. As far as perks go, now you're going to get forced to obviously take the weapon slot. But what I would prioritize as early as possible is the accolades. This is going to give you more XP for headshot kills, multi-kills, kills by destroying weak points, kills by destroying red barrels, or other things like that, and for not dying for a long amount of time. Which is always the aim. So obviously it doesn't matter when you get it. When you get to 30, you actually still have an XP bar that will fill up and give you a cache that you can open to get rewards from. So you're always going to get benefit from it, but you might as well get this early because it is going to help you earn more and more and more XP. And it will get better as you level up, but it's just there's no point not taking it earlier. In the early game, I probably wouldn't worry too much about the grabbing the mods, because you should be quite fine early on without having all those mods. The only other things I would recommend that you sort of prioritize are maybe deconstruction, so you can get those rarer materials when you deconstruct, because generally, if you're in the early game and you're deleting greens and blues, you're probably just going to get the white crafting materials. So if we go over to here, so you have these white crafting materials that you get from everything. But with those perks we just talked about, you'll have a chance to get steel, polycarbonate, ceramics, and stuff like that. And while we're just on the topic, so obviously these come from destroying things. These purple ones come from destroying mods. They only come from destroying mods. So if you're lacking in that department, that's how you get more of them. As far as the blues, they're very rare drops, but once you get to endgame, you can actually farm the individual factions. So in the first paragraph of these three, it will tell you where they come from. So True Sons will drop carbon fiber, Outcasts will drop titanium, and Hyenas will drop electronics. But the Black Tusk will drop all of them. Black Tusk are a very good way of farming this stuff. And obviously the high-end stuff you get from deleting individual high-ends. Don't worry about those exotics. So yeah, that is a decent way to go. You can also upgrade your crafting material storage, which I haven't looked too much into this, and my brain be dumb, but this doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem like it's actually working, because it says crafting material storage capacity increased to 500. But if you remember looking over here, that's 400 of 400, 300 of 300, 250 of 250. What is that? Where is the 500? I don't understand what the 500 is. Because it doesn't work for each of these individual types. Doesn't work as a cumulative value. Even the 250 plus 250, but then that goes to 750. That's at 100. These are at 20. So I don't actually know how that works. So if you know, let me know in the comments down below, because that's one thing that has had me stumped. The only other things as far as perks go, obviously if you're struggling, get your armor kit and grenade restocks. That's actually pretty handy to have. It means that when you go into a safe space, you'll get your grenades and armor kits back. There's a bunch that you can't do till level 30, like this one. But yeah, if you want to upgrade armor kits to get more, or grenades to get more, that's fine. One thing I will say is that inventory space and stash space is not a thing that I had a problem with until I was well into endgame. All the way up to level 30, I never had an issue, because generally the stuff that's building up space in your inventory is going to be outdated. It's going to be level 9 while you're 15, so you're going to just be getting rid of it anyway. And same with the stash space, you're not really going to need that. Wait till you get to level 30, so use it on more beneficial things like your armor kits, your grenade kits, like your accolades, like your crafting storage space, like your deconstruction, or even just going for resources and stuff like that. And also getting this maxed out and using it in conjunction with Detection 1, which donating enough resources to the control points activates better detection of loot containers, can actually be quite good. A lot of people write it off, but there's towards the early game you tend to spend a lot more time while you're running down a street, sort of on the side of the road, noticing containers and opening all the containers. But the further and further along you get, not that it becomes tedious, but you just tend to skip things a lot of times. So this gives you kind of wall hacks up to 10 meters. You can see the items that you can loot highlighted in orange, and you'll be able to see them through walls. So it kind of pushes you to actually loot a lot more stuff, and especially if you are missing a couple of those materials, it can be very, very helpful. So as far as weapons go, obviously use whatever the hell you like. What I would recommend is, as you work your way through the game, try just about everything that you get. You might try a rifle and find that you don't like it, but a few levels ahead you might get a different rifle and actually find that you like it a lot. There's a couple of rifles that I like, very much like, and there's some that I hate. So, you know, I love the CTAR assault rifle, also the FAMAS, but a lot of people might not like them because they're a bit unruly to handle. So you might come across one, put it on, not like it, and then sort of skip assault rifles. It's a bit odd that people skip assault rifles, but you get my meaning. But talking about assault rifles will be one of the best things to take and use a lot of in the early game, because they do health damage. So you see at the top there, CTAR 21, assault rifle, health damage 29%. That means that it does 29% more damage to the actual health bar of an enemy. Now, the ones that you see with a red health bar, that is just health. The ones with purple and yellow, which are elites and veterans, are purple, elites are yellow. The actual coloured bar is also their health, and then they have the armour above it. So all of the coloured health bars, these do more damage. Considering in the early game up until level 30, you see a lot, even at level 30, you see a lot of red health bar enemies. Assault rifles do a lot of work, and they can be very, very helpful to get you through the game. Also, machine guns, if you can hang on to them, will do absolute great work, and submachine guns are great as well. But pretty much everything is viable, everything is good. If you're a really good shot, a rifle or a marksman rifle can do you a lot of good on your way through the game. So that's skills, perks, and weapons. We'll just quickly touch on some UI stuff and settings. Okay, so if I remember where these are. So in gameplay, if you come down, so just go to your options menu, go to settings in the bottom right hand corner, go to gameplay, and as you come down you will see show skills on group frame can be very helpful. What this does is on the right hand side of your screen you will have a bunch of teammates and it'll show what actual skills they're using, so you can maybe not overlap skills, or know what they actually have. This on console, I believe on PlayStation, is set as a default. I don't think I turned this on. But I do know that there is, if this is turned off, when you use a skill, you will have just a bar that goes down, whereas this way it actually tells you a numerical value, which can be very, very handy. And the other thing, definitely turn this off if you don't need help from people, or you don't want to go and help people on call status, so you don't hear that annoying people looking for help. The other thing that I'm looking for is right down here. Here. So move around corner speed, slow and fast. So if we can quickly go outside and find somewhere to do this. Now, this may get you in trouble if you're a little bit weird on the sticks. I don't know what it's like on PC. I assume that you wouldn't have a problem. But basically what this does is, while it's on slow and you get to... that's not even a corner. This sucks. This should have corners. You can't even get on it. Alright, planning. This is what happens when you plan your videos. So when we get to the edge and we're right up against the edge, as I start to tap it, you can see that arrow start to go. So this is the speed at which you turn a corner. But if we go back into, if we go back into settings, go to controls, go all the way down to this and put it on fast. And then as you get to that spot where you can move, it's not that much faster, but it will do something. This might save you once a week, just being able to get around corners. If you were to come to here, this is probably actually a better spot to do it. If it will let me on. Yes, it will. No, it won't let me on there. Why do you have to do this to me, game? Let's find something where we can just go the whole way around like this car. That's better. Okay. My apologies for being a muppet. So, it does speed it up a bit. It's not huge, but it is something that may actually help you get to safety a little bit more. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that you really need to know. The only other thing that I would touch on is, as far as crafting goes, one thing I would recommend is that you don't go crafting stuff. Obviously, you're going to have to craft weapon mods, because the only way to get weapon mods within the game is to collect the blueprints and to actually craft the mods. So we'll talk about where you get them in a second. But if we come over here, because for some reason there's a crafting bench and a recalibration station outside when there's already one inside, don't make any weapons, masks, backpacks, holsters, etc, etc, etc. You just want to do your mods and miscellaneous items. Now, when you start off the game, you will start collecting blueprints. These will all be blue, okay? Everything will be blue. At a certain stage in the 20s, I think it is, I can't remember exactly, you will be offered the chance to upgrade this bench, which will, down where it says select show resources close at the bottom of the screen, there will be another option for upgrade the bench. So you'll have to upgrade it from blue to purple, from purple to high end, which I'm at now, but that is high end level 30. And then you will do something which is known as going up in world tiers in the game, which will require you'll be explained this later, but it'll require you to do a couple of missions and then a stronghold. You will then go up in world tier. You will do that again and again until you get to World Tier 4, which is the current cap. But soon, we will also be getting World Tier 5. So my stuff has been upgraded to World Tier 4, which is crafting level 400 to 440. Eventually, that will go up again, and it'll probably be up to about 500, maybe more, who knows. So there's no point me crafting any of this stuff, because all I'm doing is wasting materials on something that's just going to be outdated soon. So there's not much of a point. But what you do want to actually end up doing is get all these mods, because you can only make them once, and then they're applicable to multiple weapons at a time. So say if you, if you make the 8x scope for your snipers, you can put this on 10 different snipers. You don't need to make 10 different scopes. It's just a universal thing. So you have, your scopes, your angled grips, your mags, and we actually have to get a couple more of these done. So I think I have enough to do my last two mods that I currently have. So make that and make that, if I continue to hold the button. Yeah. And also the other reason why you don't want to make all this stuff, it is quite expensive to upgrade your bench, especially the amount of times that you have to upgrade it. It costs quite a few materials. I think it also, it costs 75 of one of these materials. I think it's titanium. I can't remember. But it does use quite a few materials. So the way in which you actually get those blueprints is to finish objectives in the world. So you should get them from stuff like side missions, like here a defensive system resistance mod. So that's not a weapon mod, but that is another type of mod. That's the only side mission I have left though, so that's the only one I can show you. But if you highlight your side missions, you will actually see that they provide gear mods. The other way to get mods is mod blueprints is by randomly doing tier 3 control points, I believe. I think it's tier 3. You will also get them for tier 4, but tier 3 unlocks blueprints. So as far as blueprints go, side missions, control points at tier 3 in endgame, and by doing projects. So while you're on your map screen, the middle tab will be your objectives sort of screen. If we L1 over, that's got your projects, including ones that you have created in your crafting bench. So that's on the left hand side, that's a blueprint that I'm working on. I just need a Deagle 50. But then you have these ones here, your daily missions and stuff like that, and some of them can reward you with some blueprints. They will be stuff that you pick up while you're upgrading your settlement, or you're upgrading your campus and your theater settlements rather. So while we're on the map, one thing to keep in mind is these here are main missions. Okay, so they are the double hexagons, and then you have side missions, which are the pentagons. These main missions will always give you the same XP. Whether you're at, and I'm not sure actually with the XP that's being rewarded on the screen right now, because I've already done all the missions and this is endgame. But say that you hadn't done any mission, whether you're level 1 or level 30, the first mission and then one of the last missions up in this sort of area will have a set amount of XP that they give you. It doesn't matter whether you're level 1 or level 30. That mission will always give, if it says 10,000 XP at level 1, it will say 10,000 XP at level 30. However, the side missions actually scale with your player level. They generally give you about a third of an XP bar. So if you're at level 1 and say it costs, it's 500 XP to get to level 2, it will give you a third of 500. If you are at, say, level 20 and it's 50,000 XP, it will give you a third of the 50,000. What my brain is saying to me, why didn't you pick 60,000 and 600? Because then you could easily say 220,000 being a third. My brain doesn't want to work out a third of 50,000 right now. I'm not that good at math. So keep that in mind. It's probably best off if you leave these side missions until you're a little bit further on in the game. I started doing them around 15, level 15. Then when I got to level 30, I actually had over 10 left. But that's okay, because when you get to level 30, as you rank up again and again and again, because you do still have an XP bar, you will receive a cache that you can open. So they won't go to waste. You're not wasting them. So what I would actually recommend you doing is always do your main missions if you can. If you feel like you're too far underleveled, get your control points done. So these are control points. This is one that's been captured. This is one that needs to be captured. They give you a pretty decent amount of XP. I think it's like somewhere around 10% of what you need to progress to the next bar. So if you need 100,000, it'll give you 10,000, which is not bad. But one thing to keep in mind as well with the scaling XP that we just talked about, if you are, say, at level 28, right, and you are 98% of the way towards 29, so you only, say it costs 100,000 to go from 28 to 29, 100,000 XP. If you are 98% of the way, meaning that you have 98,000, and then you have a side mission that you're going to do, that side mission will give you 30% of that 100,000. So it'll give you 30,000 XP, right? That won't change once you level up to 29. So you're still only getting the 30,000. So 2,000 will go into getting to the next level, and then you'll be 28,000 into level 29. But if level 29 to 30 was, say, 200,000, you could have just got that 2,000 elsewhere, leveled up to 29, and then actually earned 60,000 XP. So keep that in mind. Try not to waste it. Obviously, if you're 28% away from the next level, who cares if you're wasting that tiny little bit of extra on that 2%. What I ended up doing was early game, tried to do the main missions, do all my control points, and while I was thoroughly enjoying it, which I still am, doing, side activities like public executions and stuff like that, to work towards a bunch of other things that are in the game. So then move into the next area, get your control points done, do your main missions, and go around and around. Once you get to the point where you feel like you're struggling because you're underleveled for those main missions, then perhaps consider going along and doing some side missions. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully something in there was helpful for everyone. Thoroughly enjoying the game, as I said, and I hope that you are too. I hope that something that I've said today can maybe help you enjoy it a little more. But if you did get something out of this video, keep in mind that I will be doing other stuff. We'll do deeper dives into weapons, talents, crafting, all that sort of stuff, and skills. So if you enjoyed this in any way and you're interested in some other stuff in the future, consider subscribing, smash the like button, get touchy-feely with it, and thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.